Have you ever prayed and felt like God wasn't listening? Have you ever begged for an answer, but all you got was silence? You cry out, you wait, you search for a sign, but it feels like heaven is quiet. And then the doubts start creeping in. Did God forget me? Did I do something wrong? Why does he answer others but not me? What if I told you that God's silence doesn't mean his absence? What if he's working behind the scenes in ways you can't even see? When it feels like nothing is changing, think about Lazarus. His sisters, Mary and Martha, sent a message to Jesus. Lord, the one you love is sick. They expected him to come immediately. After all, Jesus healed strangers, surely he would rush to help a close friend. But what did Jesus do? He waited. Lazarus died. Hope seemed lost. Mary and Martha must have been heartbroken, confused, maybe even angry. They must have wondered, why didn't he come sooner? But what they didn't know was that Jesus had a greater plan. Not just to heal, but to resurrect. Not just to answer, but to reveal his glory. What if God's delay in your life is not a denial, but a setup for something greater? Would you still trust him? Would you still wait? When God is working in the waiting is one of the hardest things we go through. We want answers. We want direction. We want to know what's next. But sometimes, God's greatest work happens in the waiting. Think about Joseph. He had dreams of greatness, but first, he had to endure years of trials. Think about David. Anointed as king, but spent years running from Saul before he ever sat on the throne. Think about Paul. Called to preach, yet spent time in prison, isolated, waiting. What if God is using this waiting season to prepare you for what's next? What if he is strengthening your faith, shaping your character, refining your purpose? Would you trust his timing? Or would you let frustration steal your faith? When you don't hear God, go back to what he said. One of the biggest mistakes we make in the silence is assuming that God has changed his mind. But God does not change. His promises remain. His love remains. His purpose for your life remains. Isaiah 40:31. But those who wait on the Lord will renew their strength. They will soar on wings like eagles. They will run and not grow weary. They will walk and not faint. Habakkuk 2:3. The vision tarries. Wait for it. It will surely come. It will not delay. Psalm 46:10. Be still and know that I am God. Just because you don't hear him now doesn't mean he isn't speaking. Sometimes, he's already spoken. He's already given you a promise. And now, he's waiting for you to hold on to it. Will you stand in faith, even when you don't see immediate results? Will you trust that his silence is not rejection, but preparation? Meditation, finding peace in the silence. Close your eyes. Take a deep breath. Imagine yourself sitting in a quiet place, away from all distractions. There's no noise, no voices, just stillness. At first, it feels uncomfortable, but then you realize God is here. Even in the silence, his presence is here. You don't need to hear his voice to know he is with you. You don't need all the answers to trust that he is in control. Let his peace fill your heart. Let his presence remind you are never alone. Challenge. Trust God in the silence today. I challenge you to trust God even when you don't see progress. To hold on to his promises even when you don't hear his voice. To remember that silence is not abandonment, it's an invitation to deeper faith. Maybe it's time to stop trying to force an answer and start trusting that God is working behind the scenes. Maybe it's time to replace doubt with confidence. Maybe it's time to say, God, I trust you, even in the silence. Call to action, declare your faith. If this message spoke to you, comment God, I trust you, below. Hit the like button if you're choosing faith over frustration. And share this message because someone else needs this reminder too. Even in the silence, even in the waiting, God is still working. And his plans for you are still good. Amen.